Hey guys, this is a quick video. I'm just going to go through and do the skill check for you from section 9.4. They're working more on helping you to define what you're looking for in your word problems and to learn to set up equations. But first, why is it that pigs are so bad at football? It's because they are always hogging the ball. So let's go ahead and see what we have here. I'm on page 289. I'm not on page 289. I am on page 291. And all they're wanting you to do is begin to be able to understand how you can look for one unknown quantity with reference to another unknown quantity. You've already watched the video for this, so skill check 1 and 2 on page 291. They simply want us to write an expression for the unknown, or they want us to come up with variables that describe what we're looking for. Number 1 says, Larry had 3 more tracks than John. Represent the number John had and the number Larry had. So let's look at this, and this says Larry has 3 more tracks than John has. So who has the most tracks, Larry or John? Well, Larry has 3 more, so Larry has a greater number. So we're going to have the number of tracks, and here they use J, but I'm just going to say let X be the number of tracks John has. And we're saying we're having our variable by itself be the number John has because Larry has a greater number. So we start with however many John has, which is X, and then we're going to simply add 3 to that, and that's going to be the number of tracks that Larry has. We use the X to be the smaller amount, the number of tracks John has. Then we add 3 to that number, and we have the number of tracks that Larry has. Next we have, there are 4 times as many bikes as there are cars in the lot. Represent the number of cars and the number of bikes. And we're going to use the same variable here. So again, look here and see, what do they have more of? Do they have more cars or do they have more bikes? Okay, they have more bikes. Okay, so we're going to have the smaller number, and here they used C, so let me go ahead and use C. We're going to say let C be the number of cars. They picked C because C stands for cars. There are fewer cars than there are bicycles in the lot, and that's not common where we live. There are far more cars than there are bicycles, but there are some areas of the country and some areas of the world where bicycles are a very, very common form of transportation. So at this particular place that we're describing in this problem, there are 4 times as many bicycles as there are cars. So what is 4 times? Well, we're going to multiply C by 4. And we're just going to say 4C. Remember we talked in class, even though 4.C means 4 times C and 4xC, that means 4 times C, but that could just as easily be the variable, and this is not necessary to use that raised dot. When you have your coefficient, which is the 4, right up against your variable, that just means 4 times. So if C is the number of cars, then 4C, or 4 times the number of cars, is going to be the number of bicycles. And all they're wanting you to do is to get comfortable with using variables to describe what you're looking for. Problem number 3, in problem 1 and 2, we just had to come up with an expression that described what we're looking for. Now, for problems 3, 4, and 5, what they want you to do is first come up with expressions that describe what we're looking for, and then come up with an equation that we can solve so that you can find the solution to your problem. But even here, all we have to do is write an equation. They're not asking us to solve it yet. Problem number 3 says the second book has 37 more pages than the first book. The total number of pages in both books is 265. So we want to find out how many pages there are in both books, in each book. So we have book number 1 and we have book number 2, which of course you do not have to draw these little pictures. This is just pictures here to help our minds think. Which one of these has more pages in it? Well, it says that the 37th book, the second book has 37 more pages than the first book. So this has 37 more. Doesn't that make sense? Well, with what we've done here, couldn't we say, let X be the number of pages in the first book? And then, how are we going to come up with, what expression are we going to use to describe how many pages there are in this book? Well, if this book has X pages in it, and this book has 37 more pages, then we can simply say, let X plus 37 be the number of pages in book 2. Okay, now we have a variable that describes the number of pages in our first book. We have an expression that describes the number of pages in our second book. And if we look back in our problem, it says that the total number of pages in both books is 265. So we take the number of pages in the first book, and we add the number of pages in the second book. Pages of book 1 plus pages of book 2 is equal to the total number of pages in the book, which is 265. This is all they're looking for. Later on, they're going to have you solve that. Now, let's look next at problem number 4 and see what we're talking about. Problem number 4 says there are 8 more boys than girls in the 32-member band this year. This is problem number 4. And we're talking about boys and girls. And we have so many boys, so many girls, and we have a band that has 32 members in it. Not 23, but 32. So, in a band, typically dogs don't play in the band, or zebras or lions. It's the number of boys plus the number of girls in this band is going to make up the total number of band members, which is 32. So what do we have? It says there are 8 more boys than girls. So what are there most? Are there more girls or more boys? It says there are more boys than there are girls. So let's let the variable that we're looking for, if you want to say let G be the number of girls or whatever, I just use X. Let X equal the number of girls. If there are 8 more boys than girls, how are we going to express that? Well, we're going to take the number of girls and we're going to add 8 to that, and we're going to say that that is the number of boys. And like we have our little picture up here, if you will, the number of boys plus the number of girls, is the total number of members in the band. It's exactly what we're going to do. Except I'm going to say the number of girls plus the number of boys is equal to the total number of band members. And this is all they want you to do again for this example. Define the number of girls, define the number of boys, and come up with an equation using information from our problem. Okay, there are two more skill checks here, and this time we're going to actually solve the problem. First, we have on a math test, Jenny's score was 8 more than David's score. Together, they scored 175 points, 174 points. Find the score of each. Jenny's score was 8 more than David's, so she got a higher score. So, we're going to say let x equal David's score. Jenny got the higher score, so we're going to have our variable by itself be David's score. How much higher was Jenny's score? It says that she got 8 more. Jenny's score was 8 more than David's. So we start with David's score, which is x, and we add 8 more, and that gives us Jenny's score. And then our problem tells us that the total of their scores combined together was 174. So David's score plus Jenny's score is 174. Now we want to know what score each of them got. So how do we solve this? We have x plus 8. We have 2x plus 8 is equal to 174. And if we want to solve this equation, first thing that we're going to do is subtract 8 from both sides of the equation. So we have 2x plus 8 minus 8 is equal to 174, and we have to subtract 8 again from the right hand side of the equation to keep it in balance. We now have 2x is equal to 166. Do I care what 2x is? No, I really don't. I'm trying to solve for x. So I'm going to divide both sides of this equation now by 2. 2x divided by 2, and I'm checking here to make sure I get the right thing. I'm going to get 83. When I do this arithmetic here, I have x is equal to 83. Is that my answer? No, when you're doing word problems, you have to label what you get. What is x? X is David's score. So 83 is David's score. Am I finished with my problem at this point? No, because we not only have to find David's score, we have to find Jenny's score. So x plus 8 is going to be 83 plus 8 is 91, which is Jenny's score. And now you have solved the problem because they've said what does David get and what did Jenny get on their test. All right? I have one last problem that I will solve for you, and this is example 6 on page 292. Problem says 52 students are separated into 2 groups. The first group is 3 times as large as the second group. How many are in each group? Let's think. One group is 3 times larger. So we'll just say let x equal, well, let's look. The first group is 3 times as large as the second. Okay, so here x is going to be the second group because the other group is bigger. But if that is confusing for you, let's just have x be one group. The number in one group. The other group is 3 times bigger. 3x is equal to the number of members in the other group. Lest you get confused. You know, x is really the number of members in the second group. 3x is the number of members in the first group. But there's that relationship between them that one group is 3 times larger than the other. And then it tells you that there are 52 students that have been separated into 2 groups. So again, first group plus the second group is equal to 54. Okay, I must have done something wrong. Yes, I can't read. It's 52. How did I know that I had something done wrong? Because I'm looking ahead and I know that I can't divide 54 by 4. However, I can divide 52 by 4. X plus 3x is 4x is equal to 52. I don't care about 4x being equal to 52, so to keep this equation in balance, I can divide both sides of it by 4. When I do that, what that does is eliminate, we have our 4's cancel, and we have x is equal to 13. Am I finished? Again, no, because you always have to label a word problem, and you have to make sure that you're answering every part of it. We have a value for x, which is 13. We have a value for 3x now, which is 39. And we can do an instant check because when we add these two numbers together, it needs to equal 52. Does it? 13 plus 39? Yes. That does equal, the sum is 52. How do we label this? You know, this is the smaller group, this is the larger group. They're asking us, though, for the first group and the second group. It says the first group is 3 times as large as the second group. So this is the first group, and this might be a case where you've got 52 people standing in line to get into a production or to get on a ride or to do laser tag or something. And you can only have 39 is the capacity for it. So if you've got 52 people in line, 39 go in first. And then those 13 are left in the second group. So that's how you can have a first group that is larger than the second group. And that's the end of the skill check for section 9.4. I hope that's helpful to you. And I'm going to go ahead and try and do one for 9.5 and 9.6 for you as well.